Welcome to Beit Ha'am Online, a virtual Bet Midrash about Israel society. My name is Greitzer Gotlieb, and I will facilitate today's talk. I'd like to thank AZM, the American Zionist Movement, and CZF, the Canadian Zionist Federation, for hosting me and for the great partnership. The program was developed by the World Zionist Organization, Department for Diaspora Affairs, that I'm proud to be its West Coast Director to North America. From Jerusalem, the department is being led by Herzl, representative to the WZO executive, Mrs. Busti Yeshua Braverman, and works with a staff of shlichim and educators in 36 different countries around the world. This talk is going to be, I'm going to work a bit different than the first session we had last week. Feel free to ask questions or make comments at any time on the chat box, which is down below. Please raise your hand if you have any question, and I will, of course, at the right time, will unmute you and make sure that your camera is on. The songs that we heard at the beginning accompany the slideshow are Shir Hachel, Song of the Fighting Force, that was written in 1943 by Yaakov Orland, about a year before the formation of a combat Jewish fighting force, namely the Jewish Brigade in 1944. The second song that we heard, Hebrew Man, was written in English by Ehud Banai to a reggae beat, calls upon people to adopt Hebrew, the language of divine revelation, as the language of the world, and relates to teaching Hebrew as the national language. Shir HaShayara, the third song, the Convoy Song, was written by Ali Mohar, is a patriotic song that became popular in the 80s, when patriotism wasn't considered current or fashionable. The three songs depict the state of Israel and Zionism and its value on different periods of time scale since its establishment. And while we continue, you will see the connection between the songs and the lecture. When we first created the Israeli Vintage Poster program, our main goal was to put the spotlight on the story of the pre-state Israel and its early years of independence, giving expression to the ideals on which the Zionist movement was founded, exploring the atmosphere, challenges, and achievement among the Zionist pioneers. In this session, I will give you some insight, tips, and tools to analyze and better understand the messages that we are delivered behind the colors, fonts, and shape, what we call visual communication. I will shed some light on the unspoken language of seeing. Okay. Okay. I was born in Tel Aviv in the late of the 60s. In the late 60s, and I know that right now you all look at me and can't believe it, but I was born a street next to the Golden Shore, one of the beautiful beaches of Tel Aviv. I was always curious and fascinated about the world that is surrounding me, and made the decision to get a BA degree in visual communication. I got my BA, I got my degree at Vital University in Tel Aviv, specializing in graphic design. I was later the founder of a graphic design studio named Studio G. Both my last name start with the letter G, Greitzer and Gotlieb. So it was only obvious that I will pick up that name. My Abba, on the left side of the slide, my father, named Israel. Everyone called him Srulik. He immigrated with his family from Poland to Palestine in the year of 1932. They felt a wave of hatred, and the story tells that my great-grandmother dreamed about upcoming riots, and they soon left their homeland, leaving everything behind. And you can see on the right side the school that I learned at, the university that I learned at, Vital. In the middle, marked with the red-pink arrowhead, is my father's coffee place in Tel Aviv. Yeah, we used to have a coffee place. And down below are my handsome and beautiful kids at the shore of Tel Aviv. Okay. Having a bachelor degree in visual communication with a focus on graphic design, I would like to share with you a fascinating un-story language that is being used to highlight and promote ideas. In our case, it is a cluster of posters associated directly or indirectly with some of the central values theme in the foundation of Zionism that we are going to talk about, such as return to the homeland, Aliyah, Hebrew, and on, and so more. I will, like I mentioned, ask questions, so feel free to contribute to the discussion. And before we start to visually analyze the posters and the ideas, we need to take a few steps back to figure out what visual communication is and what are the tools it uses in order to make the language work. So everything that is surrounding us is visual communication. Usually we don't pay attention to it because it's part of our daily life, but everything affects on us. If we go hiking, if we live or hike in a green area or see the water, every color has a different meaning and effect on us differently. So I'm a very visual person. I see the world in a visual glasses, in a visual way. And I wanna give you some tip, but please, this is between you and me, and let's move forward. Okay. Okay. Visual communication. What is visual communication? Visual communication is the practice of graphically representing information to efficiently, effectively create meaning. It is conveyed of the ideas and information in forms that can be seen. Visual communication relies on eyesight and is a broad spectrum that includes science, typography, drawing, graphic design, illustration, industrial design, animation, and so on. The possibilities are endless. The definition of content marketing success includes visual communication, so it is better to be the best one. One of the tools that we must use, no matter if we are a graphic designer or an observant, is asking questions. And asking question. This is a routine that we need to do when we analyze things. We analyze the visual. So thinking, what do you see? What do you think? What are you wondering? what are the fonts, what are the colors. So now I like to ask Ro'i. Ro'i, are you here with me? I'd like to ask you, this is a very simple logo that you have on the right side, a very simple, a very famous symbol, which I think that you all know what it is. So, Ro'i, let's practice the thinking routine, okay? What do you see?
Wow, that's surprising. Okay, can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so first, happy birthday, Yom Holedet Sameach, Dana, if we have the opportunity. What do I see? I see a V shape. I think that, well, it's just the logo of Nike, and I think it symbolizes a lot, victory. It's reflecting the shape of V, so it's remind me of, the victory. What do I think? I think that I need to buy new shoes. There are no fonts, but I have to say that there is something about the shape of the V that really reflects a lot of movement, it's like it flows. So I think it's really related to the fact that Nike is a sport brand. Mm-hmm. And the color is black and simple. I hope I answered correctly. I don't know.
First of all, there's no right or wrong. Yes, there is wrong.
My favorite test.
Yeah, there is wrong when people see symbol, logo, posters and don't understand. That means that the graphic designer did not do a good job. But when graphic design use the visual communication language in a good way, you will read the message correctly. You will know what the client meant. So yeah, the Nike logo, exactly everything that you said. There's the speed in the icon. It's black and white and it doesn't need anything else. You see there's no font, there's no words. It is so famous, it's such a famous symbol that we don't need even words to explain it. So now we have practiced on a simple symbol. And I'd like to ask Joe, you'll be my next rabbit. And here it is. Now you see a poster. This poster is part of the art gallery. I don't know, we cannot hear you, Joe. We cannot hear you.
Shalom, Yom Holedet Sameach.
Today. Yeah, I get excited every time people tell this to me. Toda rabba. Thanks for participating. And this poster is part of the gallery. And I don't know, do you know how to read Hebrew? Can you read the text?
Yes. Yeah, I see. Look, I see a picture of a soldier in the front. And then I see a lot of images, in the background with some color in certain places, but a lot of it is black and white. The theme it seems to be kind of like, I don't know, sort of like maybe the beginning, maybe growth, because there's vegetables, because it sort of just has this fresh look to it. It's also because of the soldier strength. The fonts are very thick and bold, so that also gives a very strong impression. The colors are red, green, and yellow, which to me makes me think of like a traffic light and sort of control. Yeah, I guess
And I have the last question. What attracts you to it, and can you explain why?
Yeah, I think what attracts me is the use of color in the background. because it's interesting. It sort of tells me that they want to highlight certain things. The artist wants to highlight certain things, and they seem to be sort of agricultural in nature, the things that are being highlighted here. So, and Hagan is the garden, so it ties in to that as well.
Mm-hmm. So first of all, I would like to applaud to you, and please all applaud to Joe. Wow, you hired in my ex-company. I did a change code. So anyway, your analyzing was beautiful. And what I want to add, I want to, not to add, but just focus on a few things. There are three basic colors. Red and yellow are the most strong colors in visual communication. That's why the stop signs are red and yellow. There's also yellow marks on the street, because yellow and red are the most strong color that the eye catches. The font, what is font? Font are the shape of the letters. The font, as you said, is bold because the message is strong. Protect, now I will add the message. The title in Hebrew called Protect Your Country, Enlist, okay? The designer, his name is Joseph, I couldn't find the last name. And the description is a soldier wearing a helmet and carrying a weapon in the background, illustrated of people and places of the land of Israel. So I think the message is very clear and very strong. And this is a few influences from the Soviet propagandas that used to, that happens for many decades. I'm not going to analyze it. I just want you to see how much it have influence because of the same years, the people that immigrated from Russia, how much it influenced the Israeli graphic design visual as well. So with that, let's move forward to the posters. Now we know how to analyze the posters. We're professional about it. And let's analyze the posters and the Zionist values the poster correspond with. Our two next slides are going to focus on values and ideas that the poster correspond with. On the right side of your screen, you will soon see the 4 posters that relates to one or more values that I'm going to talk about. You can see the list of the values. And while we explore the values, I want each one of you to look at the posters and explore the value. Try to figure out which one of the posters represent the idea that we're going to mention. Okay, so these are the 4 posters that we are gonna, that I'd like you to look carefully. And the first value that we're gonna mention is the return. The return to the land of Israel signifies not only a return to the ancient geographic space, but a return to working the land. For the most part, labor on the land was prohibited to Jews in the diaspora. Hence, the preeminence of labor and land redemption as central tenet of Zionism. Okay, you have 4 posters. Try to figure out which one is the return. Aliyah. The Aliyah of Jews to Eretz Israel has always been a central pillar of Zionism, as articulated in the Basel program adopted at the first Zionist Congress in 1897. It continues to be a preeminent value to the movement today. Remember the song that we heard at the beginning, The Hebrew Man? This one can relate to that. Prior to the modern Zionism, the Hebrew language was utilized in its biblical and rabbinic forms. but it had not been spoken as a lingua franca since before the exile. With the return to the Jewish homeland in the age of Zionism, Hebrew became a significant factor in nation building. Herzl dreamed of a Jewish state that would not need an army. The reality has proven to be different. Nonetheless, building and planting have continued regardless. Now, I need a volunteer. I'd like someone to volunteer. If you, Alicia, can help me with that because I don't see everyone.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Up in the chat, we have Benjamin Gladstone.
Yay. Okay, Benjamin?
Sorry, I was just unmuting him.
Hi.
Apologies. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, Benjamin, do you hear me?
Yes, I do.
Hi, nice to meet with you.
You too.
Yeah. Okay, so you have the four values and the posters, and I want to make your life easy. So I'm gonna click the thinking routine on the left side, so you can choose one of the posters that you're attracted to, and please share with us your thinking routine. What do you think?
So I really love the one in the bottom left, the Aliyah loan one, because it's okay. What attracts you to it? So first of all, I like that it's human. That there are a lot of human actors, which isn't true of all of them. I see in it. There's a globe in the background, which interestingly doesn't really center the land of Israel, but maybe because of that, it gives more of a sense of Aliyah being a worldwide movement. And I see a lot of people of different ages, different genders. I think I see payas, so maybe different levels of religiosity. And I think it's an exciting image. There's also a lot of motion in this one, and specifically forward motion, where the people are moving toward us, but also toward sort of maybe a future that we don't actually see in the image. So definitely the value of Aliyah, and I think return also is very related to it, is present there. The fonts are bold for sure, and blue and white, so actually the text itself talks about the future, and Aliyah is our future. Give a hand to absorption. So it's exactly that sort of forward motion through Aliyah and gathering of exiles, and do the figures appear Israeli in your eyes? So I think that maybe part of the point is that they can be. So they're coming from different backgrounds, they're wearing different kinds of dress and that sort of thing, and it lets the viewer of the poster envision what it could mean for all of these people to become Israeli, or to even together with all of their different backgrounds and customs and ways of being and looking, to constitute Israeliness as a multitude.
Thank you so much. I'd like to applaud to you. Great job. And I agree. There's only three colors, three main colors. The focus is in the center. There's the globe in orange color, but almost look like yellow. And again, you remember that I told you that yellow is the strongest, yellow and red are the strongest colors. And all the olim are behind the globe, coming to one way, coming to Israel. Thank you so much. And now I'm going to show you another 4 posters, okay? And another 4 different values that relate to the Zionist ideals. One is the normalization. One of the goals of the Zionist movement was not only to be a nation like all others, but also to bring about the normalization of the Jewish people. The idea of developing exemplary society and to enlighten model society that would inspire other nations. Equal rights for women and the empowerment of women have been 2 of the so, just a second. Thank you. Have been 2 of the cornerstones of the Zionist movement since the inception. Initially, the Zionist movement was way ahead of its time in terms of equal opportunity for women, both conceptually and in terms of its implementation. Women were granted the right to vote and to be elected to the 3rd Zionist Congress in 1899. From the early days of Zionist movement activity, women were involved in and an integral part of political activities in the field. So for that, I want to applaud not just for that, but I want to applaud the Zionist movement. Produce of Israel. In the early 1920s, the Association of Produce of Israel was established to announce the idea of buying local produce and developing awareness among the general public. In 1930s, the association became the Center of Produce of Israel. The scope of publishing and raising awareness of the importance of buying produce from Eretz Israel extended to agricultural produce and manufactured goods by and every means possible. Wall posters, handbills, film, and so on. The Zionist movement did not end with the creation of the State of Israel. The doing goes on today, and we carry on working to implement the vision. Okay, do we have another volunteer to help us with another poster? Alicia, please help me.
Okay, if anyone wants to raise their hand or chat us and let us know if you'd like to get unmuted.
Don't be shy.
Okay, if not, I can do it. I will try.
Yeah? Okay.
So, oh, wait. Let's see. We have, Alexandra Cohn. Okay, let's do that. Okay, wonderful. Let's unmute you. Okay, great. Go ahead, Alex.
Hey.
Hi there.
Alexandra, where are you from?
New York.
Okay. I'm from San Francisco. I forgot to tell you.
Very nice.
Okay.
A lot of Israelis out in San Francisco.
Yeah, it's nice over here, although most of the time we're still home. We're not moving. So, yeah. Looking at the posters, what poster attracted you? What poster did you choose?
I want to choose the Herzl one, but that's too easy, so I'm going to go with the one with the oranges.
Okay. Okay. You have the question on the left side.
Okay.
And
so this one is produce of Israel, I guess, Mount Carmel to Mount Zion. So what's firstly, what's attractive about it, I love the oranges, and I love kind of the idea of fruit of the land. I don't really exactly understand the boat component of it, so maybe we can talk about that. I can't read what it says under there. But I see oranges, I see a shield of Jerusalem, I see the ship in the water, obviously. There's Har Kamel, Har Zion. So Har Kamel is in like the Haifa area, and Har Zion is obviously in Jerusalem. So and it says Palestine Maritime Lloyd Limited. So I guess that's a shipping company. It's an ad for a shipping company. It's got different colors. So what do I think? I think that it's definitely saying that it's this kind of produce is coming from the land of Israel, and advertising that it's possible to share that. Anybody who's reading Hebrew would know that Hakamed and Hasion are two very different places, but I guess it's promoting that there's continuity on the land and that the land is blooming from here to there. The theme and the value, I guess the produce of Israel, though I don't understand exactly how it connects to the common responsibility of the Jewish people for its continuity. It's important to show that the land is blooming, that the land is fertile, and I guess maybe as a responsibility to the Jewish people, like it's important to cultivate the land. Fonts are pretty basic. Colors, we've got mostly orange, a little bit of red, a little bit of green, and then the natural landscape of the boat and the water. The relationship between the elements, text, image, and colors. That ship really dominates the picture, so it's very clearly an ad for the Maritime Lloyd, whatever company that is. But the fact that the oranges are also prominent just kind of demonstrates what is possible to come out of Israel. How do they convey the message? Through imagery alone. I can't really read what it says written down the sheet. Can you see what that says?
ללא ימי ארץ ישראל בעם, Palestine.
No. Like underneath Zion on the left, what does that say?
חיפה.
Right.
Constanza, חיפה.
What does that mean?
Okay. So, sorry, you're not done.
Do the figures appear Israeli in my eyes? I mean, because I know about like Jaffa oranges, even though they're not coming from Jaffa in this instance, yeah, those are Israeli oranges to me. The shield of Jerusalem is I think that's the shield of Jerusalem. It might be the lion, I think. That is very clearly Israeli. The Hebrew clearly Israeli, but the ship, could be any ship. So I think that also goes to normalization, to say, this is also a country that can be shipping goods and sharing exports with the world.
Yeah, thank you, Alexandra. By the way, Haifa Constanza is not a place in Israel. So you said beautiful thing, and I just want to a little bit highlight. The produce of Israel, the highlight quality of its home growth produce, opened the doors to international trade for Israel pioneers. So yeah, that's what you saw. You saw a ship coming, going. You see the produce of Israel. We see the letters of Mount HaCarmel and Zion. Everywhere in Israel, there's growth, and it's also coming and going abroad and to Israel. So, yep. And what value do you think? What the value of the four ones do you relate?
I think I said produce of Israel, but now that I'm thinking of it, also normalization, to say, like, especially today that there's so much BDS. This is saying, like, hey, we're a shipping company and we can connect Israel, specifically Hakamed and Hatzion. It doesn't even say Israel on it. It says Palestine Maritime Life, whatever. It shows that Israel, or at that time pre-state Israel, was normal and can contribute to global trade. So normalization.
Thank you. I want to get back to the previous stage, and I want to ask another volunteer from the audience. Alicia, can you help me with that?
Of course I can, and if we don't get one, of course I can jump in, but I think that, let's see, is somebody volunteering? I'm looking if there's either a hands up or a comment in the chats. Let's see. Oh, I can. Edna, Okay, let's see. I believe Edna is saying that she can. Let's unmute her. Okay, Edna, are you there?
I'm here.
Hey, Edna.
Hi, Daniele, Mazal Tov.
Thank you so much. I know Edna, I have to say. I'm happy to see you here.
Thank you. I'm very drawn to the Adama Admati, which is the top right poster. What I like about it is that it looks very family oriented. There's a lot of connection here. Like in my imagination, it's the father on the tractor and the son and the mother. And everybody looks connected and happy and working and free. It seems like it's fun to grow up in Israel in this poster. Let's see. I think the value of work is very dominant here. Everything is green and brown, so the colors show prosperity and growth. Like it reminds me of the land of milk and honey. That it looks like a place where the oranges are on the trees are very delicious. What else? Did I cover everything, or the message? Adama Admati. So in Hebrew it says land, my land. So it's the land, but it's very personal. It's actually my land. It's not just a land. It's a personal kind of land, a connection to the land and to the work of the land. It seems very Israeli to me. Just the tractor and the fields and the orchard in the back. It looks like a place I want to be.
Like does the characters look Israelis?
Sorry?
Does the characters, are they,
Yeah,
they look Israeli?
What I see here is freedom. So that in that way it looks Israeli. Like the boy with his pajamas in the field, it's not formal. It's very kind of freeing. He's holding his doll there. And the whole family is outside, out in the air, and kind of a, and a freestyle feeling. Mm-hmm. And I think the dad is wearing a kova tembel, which is like one of the hats that the Israeli hats that we see in Israel or we saw in the past. So yes, they do look Israeli, I think, even though they're dressed a little warm for the Israeli sun in the fields, the mother and the son.
Thank you for analyzing so beautifully. Edna, how does it look now when you have those thinking written question, the tool that I gave you? When you see the poster now, do you see it differently? Or do you notice things that you did not notice before?
Yeah, it's very helpful. The questions really lead you to a thinking process. Before I wouldn't think about, looking at exactly these things. I would kind of look at it in general, and it breaks down all these elements, and it's very helpful to understand in a deeper way.
Thank you so much. Would anyone else could join us and choose one of the that are left?
Okay, so we have a few special requests for specific posters. Okay. I see, let's see, I don't know if you want to do ones that are just up right now, or if you want to do ones that we put up. But we have, let's see, Phyllis Heidemann was requesting to talk about the Herzl poster. Sharon Joseph is requesting to talk about the Women's Army poster. And there are a number of comments that are asking questions about where the posters are coming from and other things. I'm going to quickly review it all, and I'll let you know what else we have. But let me know how you want to go.
Okay, so yeah, the posters are designed I didn't say the name, sorry. It was the first, the one that Edna chose was made by Shamir Brother. And
I apologize. And the dates as well, they're asking about when they're from.
yeah, and they were made pre-state and the first years of Israel. You can see the influence of the Russian visual design on them. Did I reply to this question, Alicia? Sort of. We have another one that wants to help us understand another poster. The Herzl poster. Who wants to analyze the Herzl poster?
Sorry, Phyllis, you're unmuted. Go ahead.
Oh, hi everyone. Yom Haledet Sameach.
I
I would speak to the poster of Theodor Herzl, and I would note that as we celebrate a Histadrut Tzionit, that the flag on the left has the Magen David in yellow, and the flag on the right is in blue. I think it is a strong statement of moving from the Shoah, from the Holocaust, to the state of Israel. Herzl's posture is straight and strong and commanding, and I think that he is giving us, asking us to show our inner strength to build a new state of Israel, from where we came, looking to the future with strength. Even the way his hands are holding onto the chair, the top of the chair, it's with the determination, all 10 fingers. He's putting his whole self into this commitment and into the future of Zionism.
Yeah, and the font?
I'm sorry?
The font, the shape of the letters.
Oh, the shape of the letters? They're a little bit old world, but they should be, given the date that the poster was made, given the date of his address to the Zionist Congress, and given the date, like it says on the left, where we came from to where we're going. And at the time of this poster, he wasn't aware of the torch that we would carry on his behalf, and the strength and the great heights that we would achieve. So I think the font, it's okay. It's okay. It talks to me. That whole poster speaks to me, but because I believe that memory is very important. It's important to know where you came from, to understand where you are and where you want to go in the future. And he's making it perfectly clear that we are leaving that sad past and going to a bright new future.
Thank you, Phyllis. By the way, I saw you dancing with me. You danced with me at the beginning of the slide and I saw it. So thank you for that, and thank you for analyzing the poster. Do you have any idea which one of the values on the left top of the slides does this poster relate to?
Say it again, I couldn't hear, I'm sorry.
There's 4 values on top of the slide from the left: normalization, empowerment of women, producer, continuing the vision. Do you have an idea the Herzl poster relate to what values of those 4?
I think that he would, in particular, the first one and the fourth one, the normalization and the continuing the vision, because that poster, I believe, speaks today as maybe as loudly as it did in the past, and especially in the times in which we're living. Normalization for sure, but to develop this exemplary society, but I think that also continuing the vision, because he had a very clear vision for the future, and it's important that we follow those with a clear vision.
Yeah, so you're right. This poster relates to continuing the vision. It's a jubilee of the World Zionist Congregation, 1897 to 1947. And you can see Herzl stands on the pod, almost a chair, Phyllis, but standing on the pod, and on the pod it is written, Jews who will do it, will achieve their state.
Yes.
Yes.
Is it a podium? I thought it was a chair. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
It's a podium.
I guess that it's a podium, yeah.
Yeah.
Nowadays you can really...
And even the podium is solid and strong with definitive lines. It has a definitive shape, and that even the podium even addresses the hope for the shape of the future, that it be positive. Because if you notice from the flag, the Magen David, or the blue even at top, the blue just behind Herzl and behind the podium is a deeper blue.
Mm-hmm.
So you could think it was the sky and the water, or you could think it's just that the future, the dream, the vision, the normalization is getting stronger.
Thank you so much. I agree with you.
I love that poster, by the way.
I love it too. So moving to then and today, I brought two examples of a poster that was made on the left side to the 72 years of Israel. And on the right side, there's a poster that was designed for the first year of Israel. I need another volunteer to help us to see the differences. So, there's no differences. We have a volunteer, Alicia.
Okay. I don't know, Sharon, I know you wanted to talk before. Would you be interested in talking now?
Yeah, I could do that.
Okay, wonderful. Go ahead.
Okay. As a few people have mentioned in the chat, the ATS, if we get the poster back.
Okay.
Okay, on top right. First of all, very interesting webinar. Thank you. The poster on the top right is for the ATS, which was an auxiliary force within the British Army between 1942 and 46, which was created with controversy in the yeshiva at the time. Men had already been part of the British Army already from 39, and here we have women in 42 at the request of the Women's Council to join the army as well. What do we see in the poster? It was, again, this is pre-state, so this is during the Shoah itself that this is happening, because I guess in the era of in a code word, in the era of Hannah Senesh. So what do we see here? We see the colors of the uniform. What do we see first? We see a woman who is an officer holding a jacket in a flowing movement with a request to come fill it. It's like, come join me, come join the army. The words say that specifically on the top. The words at the bottom are very interesting. The font is a biblical or a prayer font that's being used, and it's part of the Lecha Dodi from welcoming Shabbat. And the words that come just before it are like shake off the dust, to pick yourself up out of the dust, leave bigdei tifartech, and wear the clothing of your honor. So this was being directed specifically to to the elements that all knew this verse within Israel. And it was telling them that they're now part of a historic prayer for reality, and then they could join in its fulfillment. The colors, basic army colors. So the green, I think, is where it starts, and then it goes to the color of the shirt. So then that's picked up in the background. The color of it's your turn on top, and the color of the Hebrew words on the bottom, I think, are the red burgundies, which work well with the green, and they also they work well with the green, and they're also very strong and pay attention colors. How do the figures look Israeli in your eyes? I'd have to see more pictures from that era or hairstyles. I don't know that it looks that different than other, in my eyes, other eras at the time. Is it empowerment of women? It's an interesting question. I think mostly, and first of all, it was you two have a part in this to join the fight against, and yeah. So that's the one that, as of the four that you've mentioned, that's the one that it would be.
Thank you so much. I know Laura wanted to talk about the difference of the contrasting posters. Donna, whenever you're ready.
Yeah.
Sharon, thank you so much. I couldn't do it better than you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Alicia, you wanted to add someone else?
Yes, I'd like to ask about the poster for the women. I was just wondering, why is there such a strong Soviet influence in the poster? Because the way I see it, they were socialists, they weren't communists, and we're talking about optimally, once we start having a nation, it's supposed to be a democratic state. Obviously, a communist state would be just too much overkill, maybe even more so than the socialists in the first place.
Well, maybe they don't see it as a communist style.
The style to me looks communist. That's all I'm saying. I think the message is beautiful. I think it's nice that they want women to have equal time. I just feel like they could have done it in a more uniquely Israeli way, as opposed to borrowing somebody else's style.
So yeah, first of all, the Soviet, thank you for saying that and asking the question. The Soviet, the Russian, was very much professional in delivering the idea and messages through visual communication. I think they were one of the first and the best. And the era and time that the pre-state posters were made was the kind of same decades, before and after, and the influence was very strong, not just on Israel, not just in Palestine, all over the world. You can see at the Russian poster that I saw before that the messages are very clear, and deliver a strong message of something big is happening. And also there are many Russian Jews that came to Palestine and Israel, and they went to school. That what they learned, they saw. No one had back then a TV or social media or video. Only the poster were the only visual communication that was made in order to influence. So, when the Bauhaus was in fashion, so everyone built Bauhaus apartments and houses, and that's how it works. So I would like to move a little bit fast forward because we're almost at the end of our webinar of today. You can definitely see that there is difference between the poster that was made for Israeli first year and for Israeli 72 years, although they're both not using too many colors, because sometimes, less is more. And when you want to attract the eye, you focus on what you want. You know what? I'll talk as a graphic designer. When I want to manipulate, you on my work, I do it also. I do also the thinking routine. So on the left side, notice that the yellow is here at the heart area of the body. And they're all happy. It looks, it is not drawn by hand as the old poster were made. But I can see similar things that are similar, but it's different. And yeah, and the text on the poster of the first of Israel was taken directly from the Young States Proclamation of the Independence. This right is the natural right of Jewish people to be masters of their own fate, like all other nations in their own sovereign states.
Jane, did you want to add anything?
Oh, well, oh, the images went away from my screen.
Sorry.
Yeah, all the images on my screen just changed, so I don't have the posters in front of me right now anymore. I do see the questions. The questions are going away.
So yeah, so if you, Jen, and by the way, I love the banana leaves you have.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. From one design specialist to another.
If you were to design your own posters promoting Zionism today, what would be your aim?
Okay, I raised my hand earlier when I thought we were going to be, when they were looking for volunteers to discuss the last two posters that you just covered. But if you want me to jump ahead and answer these questions.
I love that.
Oh my gosh. What would be your aim? The aim would somehow be to establish the notion that Zionism is not that there's a difference between Zionism and Semitism, you know, that very thing that people seem to want to hold against us. So I guess it would be to promote the positive aspects of Zionism. I know that's very general and broad. It's not really a good answer. On what audience would you focus? I would say millennials and below, younger than millennials. People growing up. Why do I say that? Probably because those who are more mature have already formulated their opinions, and you know, they seem to embrace it or they hate it. I'm not sure if a graphic could change their mind. What values and messages would you choose to present? I think I covered that. What text and graphic would you use? Something bold, something eye-catching. You know, the Russians were so good at that. But you know, we have to move forward. We have to progress beyond the Russian propagandistic red, white, and black stuff. What text and graphic would you use? There's so many answers to that. We'd have to revisit that in subsequent classes, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Where would you choose to present? What do you mean? Like where geographically, or where, like what social media outlets? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Well,
the United States, all over the world.
Hey, why not to the Arab countries? You know, it's just like, go for it. Why not? You know, and since there is a thawing relationship starting to happen, yeah, why not? Just do what Netanyahu does, you know, just circumvent all the controversy and go right to the Arab countries. They seem like they're starting to become open to it. Okay. What text and graphic idea would you use? Again, this is really going to require a whole class, if not an entire semester in itself.
Okay, you did so well. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
An A. Okay, A+.
Thank you so much, Jen.
Thank you. So, just a second. Trying to work with the.
I will mention while you're pausing for a second that actually the AZM WZO does sell a whole set of these wonderful posters, but right now, unfortunately, we're not there in the office, but hopefully in the next coming weeks or months, we'll be able to offer them to you also.
You took the word out of my mouth, Alicia. So I'd like to get to the sikum, to the summarize the webinar. Our main goal was to put the spotlight on the story of the pre-state phase of Israel in its early years of independence, exploring the atmosphere, challenges, and achievement of the Zionist pioneer through the lens of an unspoken language, the visual communication and graphic design language. I hope I succeeded in taking you on this journey and opening door to my world and my language, which I love very much and fascinated by, sorry. I'd like to thank you, Alicia. I'd like to thank you, Ariana, AZM, and CZF. I'd like to wish all of you who participated and all of you who watched peace, good health, and much love. Thank you. Thank you for joining.